And looks like we've made it because it's Friday, October 7, 2022. This edition for Things You Might Have Heard is live here, or maybe you're watching on the replay, wherever you are, however you are. Thank you so much for watching, listening, tuning in, reading up on the Things You Might Have Heard podcast, video, thingamabobber. My name, Jake Payne, and this is going to be a quick journey study. I should have wrote that down. A quick, about 20-minute virtue, actually about 15 minutes of actual news stuff. Eight stories from the past 30 hours that you deemed as conversational. They may not be all top stories, but that's sort of the point. These are some stories that you may have missed, and some of them, oh, trust me, Anderson Cooper did not cover them last night in Anderson Cooper 360. We have some, because you guys have a penchant to go for the porn, if you will. Not even if you will, because you do it all the time. We've got a couple of those stories that may lighten up the day, and some stories that will definitely bring you down, because yesterday was not exactly a very light day of news stuff, kind of weighing back and forth on things going back and forth. So as a tertiary news source for you, as your news side piece, we're offering you some things you would have missed, but some things that will make you ultimately, as a news nerd type person, happy anyway. Stop by our main website, which is at thisisaconversationproject.com, for more details on all the things we have going on behind the scenes, things we're working on and producing coming forward, and of course, ways to help us keep things going with sponsorships and partnerships and things like that. Let's get into the news, shall we? And we shall. Jeremy Bertino is first Proud Boys leader to plead guilty to seditious conspiracy. First one to admit that he was a part of something that was literally an overthrowing of the government, that it wasn't just a spontaneous event, a party that went out of hand. They were there intent on making sure that Donald Trump was installed as in the second term of presidency, and not the voters' will for Joe Biden. He's admitted to it, and he has not been sentenced yet. There's no date for sentencing yet. What's that mean? That means they're going to use him as testimony for a whole lot of other guys, hoping that they will flip on the next guys down the line, as Bertino has flipped on them, to get some convictions, to get some justice, if you will. Now, saying justice is a little bit of a false flag, if you will, because a lot of times we're just looking to get some people in jail. Justice is kind of, in the eyes of the beholder. But one guy who's a head person, one guy who knows things, has been willing to cop a deal to get some leniency in some case. We'll see what happens for down the line folks, or maybe up the line folks, for the Proud Boys. Peloton lays off 500 employees in fourth round of cuts this year. We are 2 years past, 2.5 years, almost 3 years past the start of the pandemic, when everybody was sheltered at home, and Peloton was a stock that went up, surprisingly, because people wanted to get in shape. They had extra money because of stimulus money, and they wanted to stay active and going forward. 2 years later, as most of these things do, they're now mostly coat racks or sitting in people's garages waiting for someone to pick up a deal for them. And because of that, the new equipment's not making any money anymore. You don't make money off of old equipment and just subscriptions. Peloton, on its fourth round of cuts, 500 different employees from various different departments are being laid off right now. Most of these departments, of course, are not the people who you see in the Peloton doing the exercises. Those guys are the low-hanging fruit. Those guys aren't the big, heavy labor. It's the people who build them. It's the people who manage the sales departments, which is where the real money is made. It's the people in the big offices who, push around papers and make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed and things like that. Another round of layoffs for Peloton this year. We're going to see how they pull out at the end of the year. Thai police, more than 30 killed in childcare center attack. I believe the count was 24 or 20, so 44 children were killed in this daycare center attack. The basic happening was a former police officer who was fired in disgrace for just being a bad police officer, attacks a childcare center, a daycare, and with a knife, stabbing over 30 people. There are pictures out there that are completely gruesome. There are some scenes you'll see on the news of people covering what's going on. It's only been about a day and a half, maybe 2 days in real time as this thing has happened. And they're still dealing with a lot going on. Now, Thailand is a Muslim country, it's a Buddhist country. So most of the children are going to be cremated, that's kind of good thing because of the carnage left over by the attack. It's just so horrible. Personal note. When my sister died, they had to cremate her because the state of her body was just so bad. You could not, clean her up for a funeral. It just wasn't there. So because to save all of our sort of our sanities, she had to be cremated. It was something it's a hard choice to deal with in a place like here where we actually display a person and celebrate them. There, it's not quite as hard of a decision because it's basically made for them. But the fact that it has to be done for 24 children under the age of 5, because it's a daycare center, it's really hard to take. This is a story that it was almost cut for happier stories today, because this isn't happening here, but we know that we have mass shootings. This was not a shooting, this was a stabbing, mass violence things here in the States, and people wonder how come things don't happen in other places. Just want to remind you, they do actually happen in other places. They may be rare, and when they happen, they have bigger impact, but they do happen in other places. Here, we're a bit muted because it happens not often, but often enough that it's kind of like, well, when's the next one? Speaking of next one, Kevin Spacey's trial, Kevin Spacey's, he owns his trial, begins nearly 5 years after Anthony Rapp accused him of sexual abuse. Remember Kevin Spacey? You probably don't remember much about him because he did a bunch of great things back in the day, but he was also kind of creepy. Then the creepy overtook him as an adult. Anthony Rapp, the actual adult, said, yeah, he abused me when I was a teenager, as opposed to the kids who got dismissed or paid off going forward. Because of this accusation from 5 years ago, Kevin Spacey's world came a crashing down. He lost his spot in his hit show on Netflix and was replaced. Well, he was killed off in that one and then replaced in lead by the person playing his wife. He was the president, and so the president got killed and his wife took over House of Cards. Really just sort of weird. Fortunately, Donald Trump came in and made all that weirdness look tame, but that's one thing. He was literally digitally replaced in a movie that was already done because they didn't want to deal with Kevin Spacey. Has had no serious work in about 5 years or such time, and now will actually go to trial for this one. He's actually been to trial for a couple of other cases, but this is the big one that mostly got things started, making people thinking, hey, maybe we can't just overlook all the weirdness of Kevin Spacey just because he's bringing in money for movies. Sometimes it takes being accused of very, very bad things to drop you off a pedestal like that. Speaking of dropping off pedestals, pun intended, Herschel Walker, abortion's accuser. Yes, he also owns the abortion accuser. Herschel Walker's abortion accuser is the mother of one of his children, report says. Now, I want to throw a little bit of cold water on this one, because this one's getting really toasty fast. The original story, as we are taking it in, is that about 13 years ago, Herschel Walker paid for a girlfriend's abortion. And because Herschel Walker is pro-life, pro-family, all this other stuff, he's saying abortion bad, no abortions, but he paid for one 13 years ago. He's not saying he's changed his mind on it. He's saying he doesn't know who this woman is. This past year, 3 women came out and said, I have had a child with Herschel Walker who no one knows about. And he has just kind of said, yeah, that's true. This woman here says that she actually had a child with Herschel Walker. Now, no one's actually identified the woman, so we don't know if this is one of the previous women in children's, or this is a different woman with a new child and the abortion claim. We're assuming it's a previous woman because he owned up to having the 3 children, but Herschel Walker's also saying he doesn't know this woman, and he's fighting this one tooth and nail. Herschel Walker, who is not exactly qualified to actually be in the Senate race, if you watch while he does and just listen to what he's talking about, not exactly pulling off the family value stuff. And just because he played football at Georgia and then moved to Texas to live, people in Georgia are just sort of eating this up. He's still in a basically neck and neck. It's like a 5-point swing between him and Raphael Warnock for the seat. And remember, Warnock got this in a special election, so he had to basically run for it immediately. So we're going to see how this thing plays out. One of the biggest Senate races, biggest politicians, race of politicians in the nation is here in Georgia because of the importance of the seat and because of who's running for the seat. Backed by Trump's boy, Herschel Walker. Trump's not helping out very much anymore, and we'll see how this thing plays out in the future. About 30 days or so. We're almost a little over a month away from voting. Actually, a little less than a month away from voting, believe it or not. And we shall see how Georgia rolls with this one. Two stories dealing with the porn industry. Number one, Lana Rhoades says adult movies are 100% fake and performers are treated like circus acts. This is something Lana Rhoades, a former adult film actress, is saying about the actual work in the work. Now, this is something that people who actually take, more than a half a minute to actually look into how these things are done and not just, watch the porn itself, can understand and see. There have been plenty of exposés, plenty of just sort of cover stories, plenty of just deep dives. That one was actually a pun intended, that go into how these things are made. And it's a lot of, just like regular movie sets, sitting around and waiting, although it's sitting around and waiting with sexual activity involved. It's not exactly a pretty sight. There's a lot of extended takes, a lot of different runs, a lot of things that work out. And Lana Rhoades is a former star who's telling folks, hey, all you're seeing on TV, it may not be green screen and lasers, but it is all pretty much faked. On top of that, pun intended, we're going with this one. Texas high school golf team cancels practice after encountering adult entertainment club's tournament. A golf team in Texas, a high school golf team in Texas, went to a golf club. They went to a country club to practice for a tournament upcoming, because let's practice on a real course. Let's practice on a big course. Let's do a big deal. It was a big deal for the kids. They got there and realized very soon practice was not going to go as planned. In fact, it was actually canceled because there was a golf tournament going on. And this wasn't just old stogies from the Better Business Bureau or the Rotary Club playing around where they could actually, mingle with them. These were adult film stars and some of their patrons. Yeah. So golf practice was canceled on that day. Hopefully the kids did well in the tournament. They were, played up enough that they could do well, or get some alternate time in some other places. They did get a little practice in a couple other places, but not the scheduled really big time on the big course because the porn stars were there. You guys like porn star stories, so I have to sneak them in there because I got to get the eyeballs, got to get the clicks. And the U.S. will start screening passengers from Uganda for Ebola as African country deals with outbreak. If you're watching me do stuff, this is why I don't like video stuff, because I do weird tick things like that when I can't speak things. Let me reread that. The U.S. will start screening passengers from Uganda for Ebola as African country deals with an outbreak. Ebola is back, at least for Uganda. And there are about 45 actual cases of Ebola. No cases in the United States, no major cases announced anyplace else. But the time to prepare for the pandemic is before it actually shows up. And so Ebola, something that the last outbreak about 4 years ago we dealt with, and it was a pretty serious thing. So people are preparing for it. Currently, there's no vaccine for the current Ebola strain of virus. And of course, Ebola is not airborne. It literally is bodily fluids touching in contact. So you have to actually reach stuff. The most people who are actually in danger of catching Ebola are actually healthcare workers dealing with people near people who have this disease. So right now, we're not looking at pandemic 3.0 coming in, would be being backed up by Ebola next. What we do have is a serious situation that's going to take some time and effort to deal with. But make sure you stay vigilant, stay eyes on this one. Yes, still have COVID-19. Flu season is coming. Monkeypox is a thing, and Ebola is coming back. Let's go to our teaser story for today. Hydration break. So, this is a story I meant to post yesterday, but didn't get posted because of a glitch in the matrix. So we're posting it today, posting in about an hour or so. But this is one that could last a bit. That's one of those stories that we say take a little time to marinate and become a thing. NYU chem professor says he was fired after students complained class was too hard. This is an issue that a lot of places are dealing with. So if you're having issues with the class at this college, they investigate to see what's going on. Essentially, the student just said it's too hard. The teacher says the students aren't actually putting in the work. And what happened was the students essentially won, or the administration found the teacher was a little hard on the students. We shall see how this thing plays out because we do these things. But what do you think about this one? Do you think the kids aren't all right and not getting the work done, or do you think the professor was just too grinding hard on this batch of students? You can let us know by following us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. This is a Conversation Project on Facebook, and th_conversation for Twitter, and engage in the story. This story is being posted on Friday, so we have to fight through Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, and Monday morning stories. On Monday morning, we're going to give you stories from the top 30, 10 of them over the weekend, producing around 90 stories over the weekend. So from them, we'll take the top third 90 of them and 30 of them and give you 10 of those stories as well, a third of those, if you will. If this is good enough for you, you can make it happen. If there's other stories that you want good enough for you, you need to engage with it as it pops up in the feed. Now let's talk about Grammarly. Grammarly is something that helps me a lot when I'm doing my writing, but not so much when I'm reading, because that's a whole nother level of stuff. Grammarly is a app. It is a program. It integrates with so many other things, and it will allow you to have better grammar, better spelling, and plagiarism protection in all your writing. You can see it real time in your web apps. You can see it real time in your accounts for your Microsoft Office things. You can just copy and paste it inside of the website, which I do most of the time, do my editing and put it back into what I'm working on as well. It's one of the best grammar checkers out there. And you might say, yeah, but it's a little pricey. Trust me, the price is worth it. And you can work your way down to prices, including enterprise style level pricing for your company, so that everyone in your company has access to a greater writing tool. And when you see my writing, it's much, much improved because I use Grammarly on 95% of what I'm doing, unless I'm in a rush. And when I don't, I see why I should not be in a rush for things. Slow it down, take the time, run it through the checker, and check this thing out. This is an affiliate link, so we get a click back from your click back. This is a conversationproject.com/Grammarly. This is a conversationproject.com/Grammarly. This is a conversationproject.com/Grammarly. Check it out today. You will not know how you ever live without it once you start living with it. As I said moments ago, this is a conversationproject.com is our main website. Stop by the website to see what you can see about us. If we're providing for you pretty good value and things you like in news stories and information, see what you can do to help us out if possible. Stop by our sponsors. It's pretty simple. You could pay nothing extra for visiting our sponsors, but we get a little bit of return back for the affiliate links there. Check out our partnerships page and see if there's ways that you can partner up with us and contribute for us for things we got going on, and just see some of the work we're doing and tell us how we're doing. Feedback always encouraged. Today, things for today, being the 7th of October, let's celebrate some birthdays today. We're calling this our Trio of Terror because we have Joe Behar turning 80 years old today. Joe Behar, 80 years old, is something I could not have fathomed, but yes, she is turning 80 on the day. Vladimir Putin is turning 70 today. So on his birthday, celebrating his great wins, which aren't exactly great wins. And Simon Cowell, who we can scowl at anytime we feel like, because we don't know him. 63 years old on the day. He is responsible for some of the hell and some of the things that have been unleashed at us in the world of music and entertainment through his karaoke shows and his overwrought talent shows. But he make money. He wear t-shirts. He's Simon Cowell. He's 63 on the day. Today is World Smile Day. Now, not because I intend on smiling at all today, because I truly don't, but I think there was a missed opportunity here. Last week was the premiere of the movie Smile, where people are being chased by mutant smiles or something. I didn't read the synopsis. I saw the commercials, and it's just it's that videotape thing except with smiles. I don't do that stuff. But why did it not release the movie on World Smile Day? Who does the research for these people? Somebody needs to be fired right now. You want to smile? Go for it. Me? Yeah, I'm going to pass. I'm going to celebrate Beer Day over again. A survey found Americans eat pizza an average of 4.3 times per month. The survey found 83% of respondents counted pizza as among their favorite foods. Pepperoni was the favorite topping in the survey, with a 38% of respondents naming it as their preferred topper. Anchovies were the least favorite. Do people even actually put anchovies? Do they stock anchovies anymore? 34% saying they're not fans. The New York style thin crust pizza was the favorite style, with 38% choosing it. My wife loves a thin crust pizza. I like the thin crust. I like it myself. My daughter will not eat nothing but traditional style pizza. I am a fan of the Brooklyn style, New York style pizza. Brooklyn, I guess, is a brand name for Pizza Hut. New York style foldable pizza, but you can't put a lot of toppings on it. It's got to be like a one topping. It's got to be just pepperoni or just extra cheese or something like that. Pizza. People eat pizza basically once a week. You think of Taco Tuesday. We do that. Friday night is pizza night in the Payne household. So we get pizza every once a week, if not a couple times, if JJ decides it's pizza night, because JJ runs our house. In the meantime, I'm running away for the day because I got to get to work, and we're done. October 7, 2022 edition of This is a Conversations projects. Things you might have heard is done. Got lost in the brain thing. Sorry about that. Thank you for being with us for the week. Thank you for all your comments, all your support, all the criticism as well, because we take what you're getting to improve what's going on. Do you like the fact that we broke it down to a smaller exacting number of stories? 10 on Monday, 8 the rest of the week, to try to keep things down. I'm not sure it keeps things down. I think it just means I think I have more time to ramble on each of them, but it's going that way. Let us know how you are doing, how we are doing, and do what you can to keep things going. Follow us in the feed so you can vote up the stories. Make sure you stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task for the great things you must be here to do. What's going on? Remember, 2 days ago or yesterday was World Depression Screening Week. If you have not taken time to make that appointment to check that out, don't wait for the next year to come around. Go ahead and take care of that today. We're done. Thank you so much. We got 3 days and a couple hours to deal with for the next edition of this thing. So make sure you're checking out with us throughout the weekend. We're posting every 50 minutes, every single day, 24 hours a day, to make sure that we're covered. So we got you covered. Help keep us covered. We got more coming up on Monday. So till Monday, thank you.